Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome to the video. Now, the vehicle sitting behind me today is a 2018 Jeep Cherokee, and while the outside isn't all that bad, the inside is an absolute disaster. Okay, so taking a quick look at the outside of this Jeep, and besides the really dirty and brown tires, everywhere else is covered in a nice layer of dirt, and then up on the front end, there's a bunch of old bug guts to deal with. Moving inside now, and it's a whole lot worse as there's tons of dirt and debris covering the floor mats. The center console and cup holders are a sticky and grimy mess. And then besides the mountains of garbage all around the vehicle, the back seats are full of sand and other stains. So it's pretty clear this interior needs some intensive deep cleaning, as does the engine bay, which has gotten pretty dirty over the life of this car. But just before we undo this giant mess, take a quick second and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. I post a new video every Friday, so make sure you've got the bell on too so you get notified when those go live. Okay, well, I am pretty excited to get started on this Jeep and get it completely transformed and looking brand new again. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright guys, well, once again, welcome to the video and thanks for tuning in to what should be an incredible transformation on this Jeep. And while I work my way around with the pressure washer, you might not quite be able to see, but the vehicle clearly hasn't been washed well for quite a while, as the dirt is caked on and it's not all coming off right now, but that does make sense considering what the inside of the vehicle looks like. Now, for anyone out there who's been thinking about becoming a member of the channel and joining the DG Nation, well, there's even more reason to now, as I recently did a live Q&A with all of the channel members, and not only was it a ton of fun, I answered a whole bunch of questions, and I do plan to do it again. So if you decide to join, you'll get access to that video along with a bunch of other perks. So if you're interested, there should be a big join button right below this video you can check out. Now for all of the bugs on the front end, I'm spraying on some of my Detail Geek bug remover, which will quickly and safely dissolve those bug guts. And then while that sits for a minute, I'll start prepping my foam cannon, filling it with water, and then adding some Detail Geek Mega Foam. Then I'll get my wash bucket prepped, adding about an ounce of my new Detail Geek car shampoo. And then just before I start on the wash stage, I'll get the Jeep covered in super thick foam so I can use my detail brush all around the trim and crevices. Now since I noticed a fair bit of iron contamination on this paint while I washed it, I'm going ahead and using my new Detail Geek iron remover, which will safely dissolve those little iron particles, turning purple when it does, and then I'll simply just spray it off after letting it sit for a few minutes. But looking around the Jeep, and there was definitely iron contamination on every single panel, so if any of you out there have ever noticed tiny little rust spots on your paint, well, that's iron contamination, and it can be easily dissolved and rinsed away with a product like this. You'll be able to get your hands on this very soon as the chemical launch is fast approaching. Be sure to follow detailgeekautocare on Instagram to stay up to date. Alright, it's time now to tackle this dirty engine bay, and the first step here after disconnecting the battery is to get the entire engine bay covered in some degreaser, and then after I've let that sit for a minute to help break down the dirt and gunk, I'll go over all the flat surfaces with my wheel brush and basically use this anywhere it will fit. Then I'll use my smaller Speedmaster brush to get down into all the tighter areas, and I'll also use a detail brush to get anywhere that I haven't gotten with the other two brushes. Now with everything clean, I'll go ahead and simply rinse down the entire engine bay, and it's important to note that you don't want to let your degreaser dry, so you definitely have to work quick. And if anyone is wondering why I do this after I've washed the vehicle, it's because if I did it first, a little bit of water would end up making its way underneath the hood when I pressure wash, which would ruin my work. So this way the engine bay stays perfect when I'm done, and it just takes me a couple seconds to dry any water drips off the paint. Then with everything rinsed, I'll just quickly use my leaf blower to get rid of the majority of water, and then simply finish drying things with a microfiber towel. Okay, with everything dry now, I'm using some 303 Aerospace Protectant this time for all the black plastics and hoses to dress them and really make this engine bay pop. And if you were wondering, this whole process usually takes anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, as the degreaser really does most of the work for me. Alright, well, starting on the interior now, and obviously the first thing I need to do here is get all of the garbage and personal items removed from the vehicle. And every time I get a vehicle like this in that's full of stuff, I wonder if I'll find anything odd or unusual, like I have numerous times before. But this time there really wasn't anything noteworthy in here, so once I've got it all removed, I'll get the vacuum plugged in and get to work sucking up all the sand. Moving to the trim now, and I'll grab my Detail Geek Boar's Hair detail brush to get down into all the tight crevices to loosen up any hiding dirt. And I am happy to report that both the Boar's Hair and the Ultra Soft detail brushes are finally back in stock on my website at detailgeekautocare.com. So if you've been waiting to get your hands on a set, go ahead and check them out. They're a tool that I couldn't possibly detail without, and I'm sure you guys will love them.
Okay, moving to the back seats now, and it's time for this week's members question, which comes from Phyllis, and it's, have you ever refused a detail, and if so, why? So the answer to that is no, I've never actually refused a detail, and I'm guessing she's probably curious if there's ever been a vehicle that was too dirty for me to want to do. But if you guys have watched the channel for a while, you'd know I've done some absolutely disgusting vehicles. So while I haven't turned one down yet, I'm sure there's a point where I would. I just haven't found it yet. Now, since I see comments pretty regularly asking whether I clean the back and upper portion of seats too, which obviously the answer is yes, I clean every inch of a vehicle, I figured I'd include this section here just to show you, as it was actually quite stained, but typically I only film the dirtier areas in a vehicle, and unfortunately can't include everything in these videos or they'd be way too long. Here's all the nasty and dirty water pulled out of the Jeep. Gross. Starting on all the trim pieces I removed earlier, and the easiest way to get these clean is with some APC diluted 4:1 and my McCulloch steamer, which is able to take care of any mess in a matter of seconds. So if anyone out there has been thinking about picking one up, I would highly recommend this McCulloch MC1375 unit that I use, as it's incredibly versatile and can even be used around the house as well. So if you're interested, the link to it is down in the description for you, along with nearly every other product and tool that I use. Now to finish the decontamination of this paint, I'm using some Detail Geek Quick Detailer to act as lubricant while I use my Ultra Poly Clay to gently remove any other contaminants on the paint like tar, tree sap, or road grime. And even though the paint was already looking pretty clean, it still pulled some crud off, so now I know it's perfectly clean and ready for a sealant. With the sealant applied, I'll get to work applying 303's Aerospace Protectant to the massive amount of black exterior trim on this Jeep, which is not only going to give it some much needed UV protection, but will also give it that freshly detailed look and really make it pop. Last up is to apply Carpro Pearl to the tires, diluted about 2:1, which will leave a nice matte black look when it dries.
Alright, well, a grueling 10 hours later and the Jeep is looking spectacular. Honestly, it looks better than brand new. Now, if you guys enjoyed this transformation, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Enjoy the guitar outro, and I'll see you guys in the next one.